I'm just going to give you a run through the bike check on my current downhill bike here. I'll run through component choices, for example, and a little bit of info on my setup, and yeah, so let's get the ball rolling. So what you're looking at here is a 2013 Undead. It's a full carbon frame, front and rear triangular carbon, utilising Dave Weagle's Delta suspension system. Looks complicated. In short, the easiest way to describe it, it's a linkage driven single pivot bike. Dave Weagle's designed this suspension system. I'm a firm believer what he designed, it works. You look at previous bikes like a DW Link Ironhorse Sunday, or the split pivot on a current model Da Vinci Wilson, or a Turner DW on a Turner DHR. It works extremely well. So this is what he's come up with. It works really well. I'll go back to the frame at another later stage and go through little details of the frame and show you exactly my personal opinions on it. And so yeah, I'll move along now and I'll talk about the suspension. So these putties here, you're looking at the new 2014 Fox 40 floats. So these are what all the cool kids are running, and what they're raving about. Probably the biggest thing they're raving about now is going to be the weight difference. As opposed to previous year's 40s, Fox have revamped the fork and they've taken off a little bit over 500 grams in weight, which is a lot. The other noticeable thing on these, they're running an air spring as opposed to a coil, so they're a lot easier to, I suppose, fine tune to the rider weight, to your rider style, for example. So yeah, out of the box, they feel really good. A good quality product from Fox. Currently I'm running in full linear. You can change the compression ratio, so I'm running in full linear, which is what I've been recommended to run to work best with the Eagle. So yeah, I'm doing that. Rebound and high and low speed compression, they're set about halfway, and I've sort of still got to ride it and sort of work out what feels good, sort of thing. So yeah, on the rear, running an a Fox RC4 with a 400 pound tyre spring. Setup wise, high and low speed compression, a few clicks from all the way off, and the boost valve is all the way off. Running about 155 psi in the rear of the shock, and I think I'm a firm believer if you've got a good suspension system that works well, you shouldn't need to play around too much with the high and low speed compression on the rear shock. The suspension design on this, it works well. It's very subtle at the start and it ramps up pretty firmly towards the end, and it's pretty much a bottomless feel, which is how well downhill bike should be. Move on to gearing. So gearing is always the age-old debate. SRAM, Shimano, you're either one or the other. Personally myself, I've been a SRAM man. I think the shifting of XO is less industrial feeling to that of, say, Shimano Saint, for example. So that's my reasoning behind it. Running a 10-speed XO shifter with a XO Type 2 clutch rear mech. The mech's good, has its faults. The main fault being is that little bit of a clunk you just heard then. That's the clutch in the rear mech down here. So it requires every few rides to take the cap off, clean it out, re-grease it, put it back together, it runs smooth. But as soon as you go riding in a dry or a wet condition, so basically any time, for example, for some reason it goes to shit and you start getting that clunk back again. And it can drive you nuts because you'll go over your entire bike trying to work out what it is. And it's all coming from that. So that's that. But other than that, shift's really crisp and it's good. Running an E13 chain device, pretty standard, does its job, no hassles. 35 tooth chrome lag chainring with an 1121 Shimano Dura Ace rear cassette. Now, as you can see on this, it's a pretty close ratio. To me, it shifts like bang, bang, bang. There's no delay in the shifting. It does what it's supposed to do. Dura-Race, the deer is poison. They're light, but they should last you for years. They have a reliable products like that. Using 165mm length Shramp XO carbon cranks. So they're light, they're stiff, they're strong. The only drawback being carbon is you don't realise how much abuse your cranks cop, particularly if you live in Australia and you're using shuttle trailers, the crank arm slots, they get damaged really easy. Other than that, they're a good piece of kit. The rest of the bike, I suppose, in the punchlines over the years, I've realised that you get what you pay for. So if you buy a good quality product that's made in the States or Canada, so you're talking brands like, say, Thompson, Straight Line, Chris King Hadley, they will last. They will last better than the Taiwanese counterparts. So you get what you pay for. I'll give you a quick example of the hubs that I'm currently running on this bike. I've had these for now 4 years. These are a Hadley hub. Maintenance free, no problems. Run a titanium free hub body on them. So as opposed to Hope or DT, for example, that run an alloy free hub body, these will not chew out. These will stay in this condition for 10 years, for example, something like that. The rest of the wheel choices go to rims. Rims, very personal choice. You're either a plough king or a style cat sort of thing. So I'm neither, but I also pick my lines a bit more than opposed to ploughing through things. So I can run a slightly lighter and narrower profile rim. So I'm running here a Mavic 521. So same as the 721, a little bit lower in the profile and the height of the rim, but they don't, I suppose the main difference is compared to a 721, they don't have the little rim brake surface. But they're lighter, they may be, I don't know, as a guess, maybe 100 grams lighter per rim sort of thing. My biggest thing to save weight is always going to be rotational weight, so it's going to be based in your wheels. So if you can afford to lose some weight in a rim, in a tyre or a tube, that's where you should go. I'll go on to the tyres here. So the tyres here are the new Schwalbe Magic Mary Super Gravities. So Super Gravity Schwalbe's offering is basically, as opposed to the Daniel casing, these are the same on the sidewall, so they're dual ply on the sidewall here. They've taken out maybe, I don't know, 175, 180 grams of weight through the centre of the tyre here. Added a snakeskin casing underneath, so it makes it stronger as opposed to a single ply on the top. You're talking over a set of wheels, you're talking nearly 350, 400 grams weight saving on a set of wheels. So if you can get away with it, and if these prove to be as good as what they say they are, you're going to be laughing. Into a tube, same thing like in the setup. I'll only run like a $10 Kmart, Kenda or Tioga tube, for example, as opposed to a full-blown Daniel specific tube from Maxxis or Schwalbe. You could say nearly half a kilo weight difference just in tubes. Now, the drawback is you might have to run slightly more higher tyre pressure. Having said that, I run about 32, 33 PSI front and rear on these. They do the trick. Other than that, the rest of the bike is spec'd with good quality parts. Thompson STG, Chromag Straight Line. Lastly, the brakes. They've got to stop you for the main part of the bike. 4mm ones. These are a really light brake. I'll pair these up with a Hope Moto style brake, and these things are dynamite. These will stop you in your tracks like nothing other. Other than that, that's about it for now. At a later stage I will run through the frame. So hopefully now you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the trail.